because together we evolve. Together we may learn something.
People and groups, and that's awesome. I'm excited.
All right, everybody. Welcome to the Access 360 podcast. And today we are joined with Tyler Montgomery, the CEO of Angels in Disguise. And the conversation for today is a couple of things. But before I get into that, the podcast here is really about bringing great thought leaders, great ideas together to learn, to grow, to understand things a little bit more, and ultimately, how can we take some of that stuff and use it in our own lives, our own world? And um, you know, it's so funny because you sometimes meet someone and it's like they've got a similar, I'd say, spirit or energy as you do. And I tend to run fast and run hot and run in a lot of different directions. And Tyler, I think that's kind of how I felt about, and I may be mischaracterizing, but you just seem like a guy who really runs and builds and grows and has a sound business mind and understanding. And I've learned a lot from you already just in understanding some of your expertise in the nonprofit space. So, just how are you doing today? What's going on?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm here in Louisville, so I'm frozen. I'm cold, snowy. I think we're getting hail right now as we speak, so I'm happy to be inside. But no, doing fantastic. Every day is a joy doing what I do. Right now with Angels, we support adoption children with Down syndrome, which is just a celebration. We just sent out 4 checks for 4 families to get their little baby, and it's just amazing. That's the fun part of nonprofit work, when you get into the ops side and you get to do the good stuff and help people and work, and it's just amazing. And through my career, whether it's in Africa or in Cincinnati or in Florida or in New York, it's always been helping people and trying to figure out how to make that easier and better and to grow it. So yeah, today's a great day.
Beautiful. Well, I don't get too formal in terms of like I'm going to drill down and I have a set list of questions, but it even just in the moment, because I was at a lunch yesterday and they said, what's the one sentence why of why you do what you do? And I just heard it, or at least a component of it inside of you sharing. And sometimes in building business, it's a numbers game. We want to drive, we want revenue, we want all these things. But sometimes what undergirds that is really like, why are we doing what we're doing? Maybe I'll just ask it a different way. How often are you thinking about that or connected to it as you're going through the day to day? Is it like always top of mind? Is it kind of like, oh, I just ran a race and then that's why I ran the race? How do you think about the why
Yeah,
component?
it's completely, I think about it every day, all day. For me, it's motivation, and when I'm doing business, when I'm thinking or when I'm helping startups and stuff like that, I'm not always coaching nonprofits, but, for me, it's helping people, making impact. When I have staff, I was just talking to a friend, and if I raise $100,000, sadly, I don't feel that great. It's like, next thing, let's go, next thing. But when my staff raises $100,000, that's like celebration. It's amazing. Like, I get goosebumps thinking about that. But for me, it's like, we need more. But when I give out that $100,000, when I'm talking to the families, when I'm hearing the issues they're dealing, if we did a heart surgery about a year ago for this little boy named Legend, perfect name. And we're giving out this money, and then we have to wait. We have to wait to see how this surgery goes, and it's so stressful. And I'm so engaged, and it kind of keeps me moving. So for me, I need it. I need it to have that motivation, to whether it's to help, to feel good about my staff doing the great things, or helping these families, or helping these kids, or trying to fix an issue. Sometimes we're trying to get politicians to kind of give us more support, to change the way they're talking a little bit, to change the way they're thinking about things. And so it's all always about that impact. And so when either if it's nonprofit or regular business, it's just trying to see how you can make things better. And when you're helping staff grow and get better, and one thing, in the nonprofit world, I've been in here about 20 years now, and it's hard to keep great staff because it's hard to pay them well. Because nonprofits, we aren't getting paid enough. No one is, and are the ones that are the ones that are taking too much money out, and I don't like those organizations either. So you need to kind of help develop those staff, and when they go to do some amazing things and are doing unbelievable impact, it's awesome. And that's legacy to me, where it's why are we here, what are we doing? It's helping these young folks figure things out and do some amazing impact. When I was in Africa, there's some unbelievable startups that are just trying to get water and energy and to places that aren't really there. And or we're doing self-defense for women for them to feel more comfortable. There's all these things where you can see this lasting legacy and kind of keeps you motivated, keeps you grounded in your work.
Yeah, no, I love that. It took a while, I think, for me to understand that about my work life because I started out in corporate America and money and I'd say production were top of mind. And I was in New York City, and that has its own luster and a lore in a lot of different ways. But it took me a while to really understand the value of doing something that I believe is worthwhile and meaningful in the world, not just to put some more things in the bank account. So thanks for sharing that. What I wanna, I think, guide this conversation to, because it's interesting how nonprofits have come up a lot in our business. I introduced you to a good friend of mine, Share, and the light has been shined, certainly in my world, of the challenges that a lot of people who have that cause in their heart and then want to go do something about it. They might start a nonprofit, whatever that means, whether they actually registered it or I'm just going to go fuel my cause. You know, you gave a lot of good insight. We're not going to get into all the depth of that, but maybe just how do you guide or what do you say to people who are kicking off a nonprofit and like what are some of the things that you would, whether you caution or guide, or like these are the things you need to make sure you put in place if you really want this to become what your heart is asking for?
Yeah, I think it's super tough in a lot of ways because there's a lot of these organizations doing similar things. There's other organizations doing it, helping adoptions. And one of those things, I think I talk to people thinking about it is like, is this a hobby or is this going to be your profession? I think it's very important to look inward and kind of see, it's like, am I really adding value to this? Because, shoot, what drives me crazy the most right now is I'm one of the biggest costs for this organization. And if I took myself out, I could think of how many more people we could be helping. I don't know how the long run would be, but if we were like drawing down and I tell my board to be like, okay, it's time to get rid of me and use this money to, help these kids. I think sometimes that might be the decision. So you kind of have to look on runway. I think in any business, runway, how do we do this? What are we doing? What are our KPIs? Because if I'm asking people for money, I need to be like, this is what we've done. We've supported 164 adoptions. We've done these heart surgeries. We've done this many educational grants. This is the map of where we've done, all these things that are super important, more than just, I want to help people. I want to help veterans. I want to help single mothers. It's these things because the control on this money, there's a lot of people asking, and there's way bigger organizations trying to do similar things, which I think small organizations are fantastic because the overhead's less. You're not buying a building, you're not paying hundreds of people to do that. And that's one of the great things that I think with your company, with people starting up, is really to kind of get that support, but not to be, uh, pigeonholed and put into this gigantic salaries and these gives you more flexibility, kind of move where you need to go. And I think, yeah, it's just I think it's very tough. I think you need to be if I'm telling someone that they're starting a startup, I'm telling them you need 5 to 10 people that can give $10,000 and but also will give you their expertise, will answer the phone when you call. And when you're trying to, it's not just $10,000. And then you say, see you later. It's who can you introduce me to? Where would you go next? Who should I talk to next and move that line? But then also it's like, where is this money going? Because it really, at the beginning, you shouldn't be paying yourself. You shouldn't be paying for meeting rooms. You shouldn't be paying for a lot of stuff. It's really, you should be going thinking, I need runway and I need these people to understand that I don't want to put the money in places that don't make sense. I want to put it where it needs to go, whether it's other nonprofits or it's family supporting. But, like for us, we don't give to families, we give to, adoption agencies. So there's a little bit of buffer between where to make sure, and sometimes, sadly, there are people saying all these sob stories and we need support. And, it happens all the time where they don't, there's people panhandling every day that are, that have cars and houses, and you're just like, what's going on here? So to, to be, really smart with people's money, I think is the most important thing that you need to kind of show that where that's going and show that impact. But yeah, forever it's tough, especially starting out because there's so many dreamers and so many people that really want to help, that want to do good because helping people feels good. That's what I sell every day. It's not helping it's you feeling good helping these kids, you feeling good helping these families. And so, it's just is so complicated that you need as much support as and then I would also say get a coach, an advisor, that can tell you things that are not going to paint a pretty picture, going to be like, hey, what is this, what's going on here? And I think sometimes um people take that badly. They have this dream and you're like, well, what do you mean, I'm not doing it right? I make mistakes all the time. And if one of my staff members tell me, oh, I feel like you should do it, I'm like, ooh, let me think about that. Let me kind of look inwards and try to figure out how to make this better. So yeah, it's so complicated, but the main thing is you got to be lean and you got to be thinking about your impact and you got to be thinking about your one way all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm remembering the conversation we had, and I mean it's just you think whether it's profit or nonprofit business, inflows are coming in, whether it's donations or we've sold services or products, like, or we're just making that initial investment, and then how are we going to deploy resources? I think also sometimes when you start a business or a nonprofit, and this is one of your first forays into leadership and shepherding resources and building systems and building teams, that's not automatic, especially if it hasn't been in your past journey, skill set, like you haven't developed those things. I think two things. It's either you're committed to learning those, or I think what you said is let's find the people that will plug into the areas that will be of most highest priority. And sometimes they say it's the who, not the how. Like find the right people to surround yourself so you can be the leader, so you can do what I think you shared was one of the most important things as the leader of the organization is the fundraising, the relationships, the being out there with people so that all the other stuff is handled. And you can, and this is what we've been talking about in our business and when we talk to business owners is how do you get in position to do the thing that's most mission critical for you, your skill set and your leadership, and you either have systems or people that are handling all the other stuff. So
Yep.
how do you think about that? Because I know you're obviously at the helm and you've been building and also guiding others. How do you look at leaders and how they can manage some of that stuff?
Well, what I tell my board all the time, if I'm in the office, I'm not doing a good job, because I'm the salesperson. I am definitely, making connections and making sales and trying to develop those relationships to then grow and make bigger. So right now, already with you all, we've hired an unbelievable marketer named Giselle, and she's only been about 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, something like that, and already we're working so well together. I had a presentation last night where I was one of the Catholic groups that asked me to speak, and I took a video of it, and I just texted her the video, and she's gonna cut it up, chop it up, and put it out there. And so those things are just so important because you shouldn't be doing it all yourself. You shouldn't be. It's wild to think that you are good enough to do all this stuff by yourself. Even if you do know it, you shouldn't be doing all this stuff by yourself because it's just time. With Giselle, she's already taught me a bunch of things. Like I know a lot about marketing, but also she's also so much faster and clearer. And that already I'm just ecstatic at the work she's been doing moving forward. We just hired another uh, virtual assistant, Mary Doll, who's starting today, actually after this call. And I was blown away with her background. She's worked in government. She's worked, with services for disabilities in that government. I'm like, oh my God, this is unbelievable. And the fact that we got her, I'm super pumped. It's fantastic. Already from the conversations and the interview I had, I actually cut the interview short where I'm like, Meridol, I'm already blown away. Let's if you're ready, I'm ready to hire you on, and let's make this happen. And thankfully
Yeah.
she said yes. But it's all these things where you need to, and I hope that she does well, and I have no doubt she will. But also, one of the advice that I always give is you hire fast and fire fast. I've had staff members that, I think everyone has that little, not a chip on their shoulder, but they think they're better at stuff. And so even in hiring, you have this gut feeling. They're like, this, she's going to be great. He's going to be a fantastic addition. And then things start kind of moving, and you're like, uh-oh, I need to do more training. And you kind of try to manage a little bit too much. You try to train a little bit too much, rather than sometimes you just got to cut because all this costs. All this is time and money. And so, that's one thing. Like, and when I say hire fast, fire fast, it's not like, oh, make one mistake, you're out of here. It's you're figuring out, is this a good fit? Are they working to try to move? Are they learning? Are they learning you? Are they learning how to do this job? And if they are, yes, invest, give them training, keep working. But if it's things are starting to be red flags and things are getting a little delayed and more, oh, I'll see you next time, or it'll be done next time. You need to start having these quicker decisions because hiring, this whole process is time, money that you don't have. If I'm in the office interviewing people, I'm not doing my job. I'm not doing what I'm best at. And so by hiring these people, it gets you to the point where you can then do what you need to do and move forward. And so, yeah, I think, especially in nonprofit stuff, we're always trying to cut costs. And with your guys' company, there's unbelievable staff members with great backgrounds that have great experience and great skills that you can plug in very quickly.
Yeah, so many nuggets inside of that that we could touch on. But one of the things that we look to, I think what you say, yeah, I've seen you in action now, hire fast, fire fast. We actually say a little tweak on that, like hire slow, fire fast. But I think the point is like use good discernment, move forward, but then know how you're gonna, what your expectations are, and if you miss the target, not to kind of stick with it because you think you can make it work. Like just figure out like is it workable or not? Because sometimes we're asking somebody to be somebody they're not, and that's not good for anybody. It's not good for us because we're not moving the way we want. And it's not good for them because they're going to get frustrated. So I think there's you start to feel it out. You make a decision and then see if it's the right decision. Is it meeting
Completely.
expectations?
There's
Yeah.
nothing more discouraging for staff members where they're constantly getting criticized and tweaked, and there's not that coaching celebratory, like, great job. And sometimes it's hard to find that great job in certain staff, and you need to figure that out, where it's putting them in a different position, or giving them a chance to be in a position in another organization that would be better for them and be better for their mental well-being. Because we're in the world of people take things tough, and they want to do well. And I think sometimes it's a disservice to then constantly be working on these improvement plans. And I've had so many buddies that get put on improvement plans where I'm like, but you already need to be looking for another job. This is not They're not improving, they're setting you up to get rid of you. And it's tough. People have families, people have lives and mortgages and insurance and all this stuff, and it's stressful. So I think it's not just for you, it's for them too. Because it's not good for anybody if someone's not thriving in a position.
Yeah. Well, you were the topic of, so we have a Friday team meeting, and I was highlighting some things for the team to talk about how our business works. And we've got somebody who does digital marketing and social media outreach, somebody who does lead gen and builds a list of ideal candidates and contacts that we want to build relationships with. And then when that happens, we have Tony, who who reaches out. And you were one of our really great success stories because Francis on our team built a list of ideal people that we want to reach out to, which are CEOs and leaders of nonprofit organizations. Tony reached out to you. You guys had a great conversation. What we also find, and this is the question I think I want to ask, is I think from the onset, you knew and saw the value of what a virtual assistant could provide. Now, maybe for the audience, who might be people that are either nonprofit or leaders in general, what had you be open? Like, what's the value that you see in hiring virtual assistants and staff, and like, what had you be open to it?
Oh, I'd say the most thing I was open with it was working in Africa for 6 years and being a part of that community where it's, people from all around the world. People are doing startups from all around the world that are in Nairobi doing things. And so when I was coaching a lot of staff from everywhere, that, everyone has these different skills. And so, to me, when people have good education and speak well and, most of everything else you can teach, you can get in there. And I think this goes against my hire fast fire fast, but it's still, if people are learning and growing, that's all you need. And I need people that are going to grind and churn and keep things moving. And so with in fundraising, there's so many things that you need to continue with like touch points, and it's the same thing in sales. But in fundraising, after you get that sale, you're continuing because you want to continue and grow them and make them to the next level. So you need people helping to track birthdays, anniversaries, holidays, and all these things where you're putting people in different buckets, but then having these touch points, and then having a good stats and reports about these touch points. And vast majority of these touch points, I'm not trying to sell at all. I'm not trying to you know get them to give me any more money at all. I'm trying to let them know of what we've done with their money, what we're planning to do in the future, the successes, even some of the headwinds, because these people that you talk to have connections and can find what they want to do. Um, yeah, I think it's just, you have to be open to help, and if you're not, you're in trouble. And fundraising, man, if someone wants to donate me a hour in their facility, or a bar or restaurant, I'm like, ooh, what can we do there? Who can I talk to? Who can I get this moving? And so with the staff members, or like Maridol, she's already has some connections in the Philippines, and to me, we do adoptions all around the world, you know, or to American families, but it's to then let people know that these kids want to be, a lot of families want to adopt these kids, and through these connections, we can then make bigger impact on the expertise side. I think having multiple people good at a bunch of different things is super important. And one problem I find when I'm hiring, especially in America, is people want to get paid more. Stuff is tough. Costs are up, and then if I'm trying to give healthcare, golly, that's a whole nother chunk of money that then causes more issues, because it's a bigger investment, and we're trying to then I need to put more pressure on them to justify their hiring. And I think it's a win-win for these virtual assistants, because they're getting paid a higher rate than they could have in their country. We are getting a lower rate, but then I think it's going to be important, in the coming, months and years, that, I give them raises and bring them more value. And I think through like all those experiences led me to be, just unbelievably open, because I've done a lot of hiring. I've gone through this, but with you all, we can be quick. We can move this forward, and you guys are constantly trying to bring more people, which is fantastic. But right now, I don't think I need to call Tony for, hopefully for 6 months, until we are ready to then expand even more. Because you also need to be always cutting costs, always finding what makes the most sense. And I think, yeah, the financials for what we're trying to do, and already the impact, I've been ecstatic. Because if I was going to do what Giselle, if I was going to, do privately, some marketing company, what Giselle's already done, I'd be paying thousands and thousands of dollars, and I wouldn't continue it, because the money would not have enough to do with, the squeeze wouldn't be worth the juice. And I think that's the most important thing, and then, oh, I need a new company, I need a new group, and then we're doing this all again, and it's this thing. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, that's the main thing. It's just, you got to be open to successes, and shoot, if it didn't go well, we just say, thanks, guys, you tried, appreciate it. We're probably gonna move on from here, but you guys so far has hit it out of the park. Even though we did have one person that had a child get very sick, life happens, issues
Yeah.
happen. She had to go. That it didn't hurt my feelings. I really was praying for her. Hopefully her child was feeling better, and so, but you guys quickly connect me with someone else that I even think that has even more experience and more background to what we're doing. So, we just keep moving.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm continually, even having been operating this business for over a year and a half, just mind blown in terms of people's capabilities. Like, as you pointed to, like, there are just incredible people all over the world with all kinds of talent. And that's really part of what we like to do, is bring great people to great organizations at cost-effective pricing, not necessarily to replace leaders, to support leaders to do more of what it is that they want to and should be doing. Like our founder Phil, he often is talking about his insurance business and his frontline agents. He doesn't want them spending time entering information into a CRM or processing paperwork or calling providers, because now he's outsourced all of those administrative tasks so that people who are building business and salespeople are doing just that, building the relationships and deepening them, and then giving to the team the rest of the responsibilities. And easier said than done sometimes, but when you start, like, that's what we often see is, yeah, I know you get it, but like what's really fun is when a leader's light bulb goes off and they say, oh, I could have them do this, and they could also do this and this and this, and then it's like game over in some ways because now you're learning how to go from I do everything to I'm going to figure out ways to leverage, delegate, systematize, and at a cost-effective price. So, yeah, what let's do this as we close out here. We start to wind down. I see a lot of stuff on the cork board behind you. Is there one story or one like usually like if you ask me there, David, what's one heartfelt story that you have about what you do? Like something would pop up, and sometimes that's different. But for you, like what's one that just is why you're doing what you're doing? Any cool story you want to share?
Well, I kind of already mentioned Baby Legend. That's the one that pops up every time. But the main reason, how'd this happen? How do we start helping heart surgeries? Our founders, Mike and Penny Mahalik, are unbelievable. They've adopted 4 children with Down syndrome. They also have, I think, 12 other children, maybe 11. I can't keep track. But one of those little boys named Max, he had a heart defect that was not taken care of early, and he passed when he was about 8 or 9, and it's a tragedy. But because of Max, we now support these heart surgeries because we know 50% of these little babies have these defects, and we were, this family reached out to us, and I think I saw a post about them, and I reached out to them and talked to about Baby Legend, and they're in Tennessee, and we do this grant, and I still feel that panic in a way because all these adoptions are a celebration. As soon as we tell the family, it's a celebration. They're getting more support. It's a lot of cost. It's tough. But these heart surgeries, it's not a celebration. It's a wait and pray and wait and hear because these are tiny infants getting open heart surgery to join the Zipper Club, and there's times that they don't come out, and so uh, I got to go. We have a golf tournament in Tennessee, and it was actually at Legends Golf Course in Franklin, Tennessee, and so I'm holding Baby Legend, a few months after, and he has actually been in the past 2 years. So it was a few, like 7 months after was the first time, and then a year and 7 months was the second time, and just seeing him grow and being part of that family is just I can't put into words how much joy it brings me because you know you're saving these lives, you're helping these families, and shoot, there's these with Down syndrome. It's so funny because it's a big spectrum, just like any other person. There's very low functioning and there's super high functioning. We have a guy. This is David Sanctus right here on this motorcycle. He's an actor. He's been on a few movies. One, my favorite is Where Hope Grows. It's based in Louisville, and it's just an amazing kind of testament to kind of show, be friends with this community, and they'll bring it back to you 1,000%. And yeah, forever doing good is just amazing to me. And even before this, when I was working in Africa at Get Active East Africa, we were building facilities, whereas more sports at the beginning: basketball courts, tennis courts, soccer pitches, self-defense. But then people that could spend, we would charge them. People who couldn't, we wouldn't, and they come on in. But then we found out those kids that weren't getting enough food, so we started trying to give some lunches and kind of evolving to help. And that's one of the greatest things about doing this kind of work is seeing these issues, being able to fix it, being able to work towards mitigating more other families dealing with that same issue, its impact, its legacy. And so, yeah, Baby Legend, it's awesome. I can't wait for next year to see him and see how much he's grown. And it's just a happy little baby, and it's just fantastic. It really is.
Yeah, it's amazing and just meaningful work that
Mhm.
that you get to do. And thank you for doing that because I think in this world there's an opportunity for more heartfelt, courageous leaders doing things that are causing positive and meaningful impact in this world. And you're doing it. So thank you for that. Maybe two closing comments. Let's frame it in the view of a beginning leader in the nonprofit space. What kind of encouragement would you have for them? Anything that you would say is like, top of mind in terms of what they might be needing or looking, or any words of wisdom you might want to part with?
I'd say reach out. I'm available. You can find me, Tyler Montgomery, on LinkedIn or Facebook, whatever it is. Reach out to me, reach out to David, reach out to people in your community, reach out to other organizations doing similar things. Talk to them, talk and ask them questions of roadblocks and issues, and learn. Take podcasts, watch podcasts, read books. ChatGPT is fantastic. I wouldn't say you use it 100%, but to kind of get your ideas out. How do I need to get this better? How do I, after you plug in all these things, talk to it, but then, don't rely on it 1,000%. People, too many times I see people using ChatGPT and it's slop in and slop out. But when you put in your voice and you really put in what you're talking about, it can help adjust it and figure it out and plan. But I also say, don't do everything yourself. I've already talked about to Mary Dahl about how, when I'm going to have a meeting with a donor, that I'm just going to do a voice recording and send it to her, where it's like, this is what I want to put in the CRM. These are the updates. This is the next touch point. Put this in my calendar, boom, boom, boom. So then I am going meeting to meeting, moving the line rather than doing the organizational work, which is slow and sometimes a pain in the behind, because it's a lot. And to do it correctly and to type, fast enough, shoot, I can't type as fast as I want to, but some of these staff members, my God, they're typing faster than I can think, and that's fantastic, and that just makes more impact. So it really would be ask for help, get, go to your skills, get great board, get great support system, find that 5 to 10 people, that could give to 10,000 or more. Shoot, if you find fantastic, you have more runway. But to get that base where you're not so concerned and you're not reactionary, I think that's super important, because like, there's always going to be times there's going to be chaos, and there's always going to be times you're running fire to fire, and it happens to me weekly. But if I can get things moving in the right direction and organized, and even when I have Giselle or Mary Dahl being like, hey, Ty, you told me we need to do this, I'm like, oh, yep, okay, it kind of keeps you on track. So it, it's I don't know if that was the clearest answer, but it's get support, go to your strengths. I tell my board all the time, you guys do the stuff you like to do. I get paid to do all that other stuff. So if I can help and get support to doing that, fantastic. That's good stuff.
And a final question, which is like a shameless self plug, but how has your experience been with access, and anything you would want to share for others who might be considering, getting a virtual assistant, and anything that we've done well, because we've enjoyed our relationship with you thus far.
Yeah, no, access has just been unbelievable. I've been very impressed. Tony's in Uganda, and so we're already close because of just my experience in Kenya, and him living in Africa. We're both married to African women. It's one of those things where it's great, and the fact that you guys are bringing me strong, successful people that have a lot of expertise and moving the line. And so, I would say be open. Don't hire, don't, be open, but also, let Tony and David bring you the people that fit. And then to continue to kind of show you people that could be a better fit and to move that line. And then also just let them tell you what they can do and what they can't. I think too many times you're trying to find this perfect thing. I think, when you really look at it, and all these resumes, you need to be trying to be more open and just about the skills and about the hunger and about the reliability. And so far, you guys have been fantastic at finding some great people and then connecting me with the tools that I need to help utilize the virtual side. The only wish I could have a robot to have someone to help me organize some of these files here, but besides that,
Well, that's coming. I think Elon's on top of that one. Yeah.
oh man. But
Well,
yeah,
thank
no,
you. Thank you, Tyler. This has been a great conversation. I hope if anybody's tuning in and listening, that you got some ideas, some insights, some wisdom out of this, and you're thinking about how you're leading, guiding your business a little bit differently, and how you might be able to leverage virtual talent if that's appropriate for where you're at. And Tyler, how do people, what's the best way if somebody wants to reach out and get in touch with you? Where do you direct people?
I'd say LinkedIn. LinkedIn would be probably the best. Just Tyler Montgomery. Right now, I'm with Angels in Disguise. You'll be able to find me very easily.
And Kay, you've been here. Kay just joined our team. And Tyler, do you have a couple of minutes or do you have a hard
Yeah,
stop?
no, I'm
Okay, I
here.
just wanted to give Kay a shout out. She joined our team as my executive assistant on Tuesday. So it's been 4 days, and she's just, I mean, I'm giving a testament and a testimonial to her live right now, but she's really like, it's a game changer when you have somebody who can pick things up quickly. And not only that, she knows go high level. She knows some automations and integrations that I didn't even realize after she started, because she's now working with our lead gen team and our marketing team and like giving them guidance and running and organizing that meeting. And so that's something I just like to touch on as well, is sometimes we don't realize the fruits when somebody's got a wide and diverse skill set, even though we hire them for this one thing. But Kay, not to put you on the spot, but how has it been? How anything you got out of this conversation, or just how has it been being with us so far?
Yes, I'm so grateful with the access virtual staffing and same thing with the angels in disguise. I was the one onboarding very low, so that's good to know. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm really grateful the way that you guys have conversed today. That's the same feeling, like helping each other is really the top move. Like giving the blessings to everyone is really like an amount that you cannot pay, or it's a really an extra help. So with the experience for like a few days here in Access, I'm really thankful as well with David, Tony, and the team, the core group, because they are really hardworking people. And I feel the way my workaholic style will fit in. So yeah, I'm really excited to work more. And yeah, if you need help, Tyler, don't hesitate to reach out. My
Oh, I will. I will.
great.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Kay. That's just something else. Obviously, as if anybody's tuning in and you're curious about what we do, we don't only support Tyler on the front end, but the virtual staff on the back end. We check in, we make sure everything's okay, and try to just have it be a win-win for all parties involved. And it's fun. It's fun that we get to do that. So, Tyler, thank you. This was awesome. I'm glad we made this happen, and more to
Yeah.
come, I think. Yeah.
Well, yeah. We need to talk about some of the added additions I want to put on your guys' radar, where there's direct mail or some of these things that will really kind of help nonprofits. Where I think you guys are already 99% there. It's just getting some of the format there where I can see some amazing things with grants and direct mail where it's really made for virtual, where they don't need to be in the office. And so I think there's some amazing things that I think you guys are going to be able to do.
Amazing. All right. Well, if anybody tuned in, whoever's tuned in here, hope you had a great experience.